visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Richard Cruz, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Commander Rod Harrod. We warmly welcome the family of Second Lieutenant Ellis Austin Williams Smith, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. Could I ask you to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Second Lieutenant Ellis Austin William Smith. Known by his middle name, Austin, Ellis Smith was born in Western Australia in 1894 to William and Adelaide Smith. He attended school at Claremont and Cottesloe State Schools and went on to become a wool classer, working for Dalgaddys in Western Australia. Smith enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force shortly after the outbreak of war in August 1914. At the time, he was a serving member of the local Field Artillery Brigade and was accepted for service with the AIF's Field Artillery with the rank of gunner. Smith wrote to his parents from camp in Black Boy Hill shortly before leaving Australia to say, "You are to be brave and proud of the fact that you are helping the Empire in her present trouble. You have no need to worry towards my honour being upheld for my part. I trust I shall prove a credit to you both. Perhaps you think I am not conscious of the danger I am about to undergo. If so, you are mistaken, and I trust I will be brave for my country's sake. And if I have to take my turn and go under, the same as other poor fellows are doing daily, I pray to God, and I ask you to do so, that I will be able to, without a quiver, just as a Briton and a Australian should." He left Australia with the 1st Contingent in October 1914 and continued training with the 3rd Field Artillery Brigade on arrival in Egypt. In early April 1915, the 3rd Field Artillery Brigade left the Egyptian port of Alexandria for Lemnos Island. There they spent days in Mudros Harbour practicing landing guns and horses from troop ships. They finally left anchorage at 1:25 a.m. on the 25th of April 1915, bound for Gallipoli. The brigade was landed in small parties over the next few days. A few days after landing, Gunner Smith was wounded in the shoulder and evacuated to Lemnos. He rejoined his unit on Gallipoli in June and was with them for 2 months before falling ill. Sent to hospital in England, he took some time to recover and did not go back to Egypt until March 1916, only to return to England a few weeks later in preparation for the fighting on the Western Front. Smith remained in England in staff roles for nearly a year, gaining regular promotion and serving in a number of different capacities. In April 1917, he went to France and was posted to the 28th Battalion. In late September, the 28th Battalion took part in the Battle of Menin Road. The night before, Austin Smith met his brother Haywood, serving with the artillery, and went back to camp with him. Haywood later recalled, "I had tea with him. Needless to say, we were talking of home all the time. He was very cheerful and confident of success." The attack went ahead in the early hours of the 20th of September and was indeed a success. However, Second Lieutenant Austin Smith never knew. He was killed by the concussion of a shell that burst near his position an hour or so before the attack began. He was buried on the spot, but his grave was lost in later fighting. Today, he is commemorated on the Menin Gate Memorial to the missing. Austin Smith was 23 years old. His name is listed on the Honour Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember 2nd Lieutenant Ellis Austin William Smith, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Remember them,
lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes this evening's last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.